Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome back to Build Your Business Radio with your host, Barbara Weltman.
My next guest, Darrell Knoch, has an eclectic background as an investor, a real estate authority, a financier, public speaker, and now author of Mastering a Healthy Self-Image, the guidebook to real happiness and enormous success. He's with me today to talk about using self-esteem to achieve prosperity. Welcome, Darrell.
Well, thank you.
I have your book right in front of me, and I can't say I've read every word, but I have gone through the book. And maybe you could just share with my listeners what the premise of the book is.
Well, I grew up with a very poor self-esteem, and I grew up with very low self-confidence. And I saw as I looked around, I saw that it seemed to me that a lot of people really were suffering that same low self-confidence and low self-esteem, not really thinking that, the economy has really been, poor these last few years, and not feeling like they had any control over their life or their outcome anymore as much as they used to. And I wrote a book that says you do have control of your life. You have to just open your eyes, and here are the keys of how you can open your eyes and take control of your life and take back prosperity.
I think it's a great premise, because all of us as business owners, as entrepreneurs, basically the first step you need is a healthy self-image. I don't know how that you can move forward without it. How did I understand that you say cents are more important than dollars. What do you mean by this?
Well, I've made, I've been in business for 35 years, and certainly no one would expect me to have gone 35 years without making a mistake. I've made, I used to joke with people because my nose had been crushed when I was a year of age. And so I had a little bit of a fat nose, and so I used to joke with people, the reason my nose looks like it does is because I have such a hard head. I like to slam it against the wall, it seems like, and I make mistakes that as I've look back on it, how did I make a mistake that was so huge of a mistake, but yet it seems so obvious now that I'm looking in the rearview mirror. And I always, you could overcome a big mistake, because if you overcome a big mistake, you're gonna pay attention to it. You're really gonna notice, I'm not gonna do that again. But if you're not watching your pennies, you can pay just a little bit too much for this and a little bit too much for that, and then all of a sudden, because you're not watching pennies, that really is what eats away at your long-term cash flow. Mistakes are overcomable. It's not watching that small amount of money every day that you're spending that you shouldn't be.
So, in fact, the errors that you make in business judgment can really be an asset to you. It's a learning experience.
I think that, if you take a look at a mistake that you've made, and especially those larger mistakes, that you always learn a great lesson from that. I mean, I know from 35 years of being in business that I'm so much more of a robust business person today because of all those good learning experiences that I had.
Well, they weren't so great when you were going through them, I'm sure. I can relate to that. Exactly. How do you tell someone to go about creating a healthy self-image? What's the first thing that you need to do or know about?
Well, I personally believe that the way we talk to ourselves is the foundation stone of building a different self-esteem. I talk about it as in, mastering your self-talk and mastering your mind. We really need to learn to talk yourself in a different way because, all of us, just natural human nature, we've all learned to talk to ourselves maybe in sometimes too negative of a fashion. Why'd I do that? That was stupid. I certainly have said that to myself more than one time over my life, but, that's just not a good way for me to be talking to myself. So I have a little mirror card that I use. And I give them away for free if people will ask for them, but it literally hangs on my mirror in my bathroom, and it says, I like myself, I love my life, I'm excited, I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I add brightness to the life of everyone I meet. And, if you start, if you make up your own verbiage that you want to use, or I'll be glad to send you that card, but start telling yourself that you have something to be excited about, that you like yourself, and that you are excited, and that you are happy. Those things will, if you do that for 30 days straight, people around you will notice the difference in you.
I think that's absolutely true. Positive reinforcement of your self-image it's got to work. It does work. And certainly when you hear about athletes, how they are taught to picture success and in order to achieve success, I think that works for us as business people as well.
It absolutely does. In fact, I'm going to be putting on a 2-day live event. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I'm going to be traveling around the San Diego and Los Angeles area doing book signings and talks the last 2 weeks of April and the first 2 weeks of May, and then I'm doing a 2-day live event here. And the title of it is just what you just said. It's called Self-Esteem to Prosperity. Learn to dream, visualize, and make it happen. Because visualization, just like you said, is really, really a major key also.
Oh, I think that's absolutely true. You also talk about, in your book, anchoring yourself to success. Maybe you could explain that to my listeners.
I absolutely will. I have a great little anchor that I use personally. I have a gratitude coin that I had made up for myself, and I give those away also. If anybody would like to have one, I'd love to give them a gratitude coin. But I carry that gratitude coin in my pocket, and I'm touching it right as we speak. And, for a long time, I was truly very successful in business. I'd had some really great things happen, and I used to keep thinking, how do I get to that next level of success, and how do I get to that next level of success? And so I pulled over the side of the road one day as I was daydreaming, and I literally designed this gratitude coin so that if I touched it every day as an anchor, it would pull me back to being grateful. But using this anchor is something that allows me to touch it so that as I've told myself, this is what this piece means to me, every time I touch it, my mind just automatically moves back to that same thing. Another quick little story is I had a terrible issue with if I were in traffic and I was really in a hurry to get someplace, I would get really upset with the fact that traffic was so heavy and I was behind everybody, and so I reframed this for myself so that when I saw traffic and I touched the brake on my car to slow down so I wouldn't be so close to that next car, automatically I taught myself that as soon as I touched the brake, I would sing a song to myself that I really liked. Like, one of my favorites is the Beach Boys, California Girls. And so I just automatically, as soon as I see traffic, rather than getting upset, I touch that brake, I sing that song to myself, and it totally changes my mindset. That's an anchor, and that's how we use an anchor to be positive, not negative.
Well, we all need to learn to do that, and I think traffic is not the only situation. It's when you're dealing with frustrating people that you can't sort of get your points across, and there are lots of situations where I think that comes up. Darrell, we're coming up to a break, and I don't want to get into the next question, but when we return, I'd like to perhaps if you could share some insights into how we can bring your points to our organization, to our employees, how we can share this information so that people within our organization can work better as well, feel better about themselves, and therefore be more successful in their roles in our businesses. We're going to take a short Okay, that's great. We're going to take a short break. I'm talking now with Darrell Knoch of True Wealth University, and the book to check out is Mastering a Healthy Self-Image, the guidebook to real happiness and enormous success. And you can learn more at his website, truewealthuniversity.com, and also yourbook.launch.com. Again, we'll be back in just a moment, so don't go away. We'll continue our conversation about your self-esteem. I'm Barbara Weltman, and you're listening to Build Your Business Radio on WSRadio.com, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome back to Build Your Business Radio with your host, Barbara Weltman.
Thanks for staying with me. I'm talking now with Darrell Knoch, author of Mastering a Healthy Self-Image. The websites to check out, truewealthuniversity.com, and also yourbooklaunch.com. Did I get that right, Darrell?
You did.
Okay. What I'd like to talk about, I think it's kind of clear that a business owner, an entrepreneur, has to have a healthy self-image. But certainly I think it can improve your business if you can share this information and get your staff to be on board with these ideas. How can you do this? How do you suggest that a business owner share this with your the team members, if you will?
Well, like you're suggesting, your team members, in a lot of cases, are the point of contact to your customer. Not all of your customers are talking to you directly, so your team has to have a great attitude. Otherwise, they start to alienate the customer. So we certainly don't want that to happen. So number one, I think you lead by example. If you have a great attitude and you talk to your employees in a great way, you're always positive in the way that you speak with them, that goes a long ways to begin to build that attitude in that employee, that partner that you've got at meeting the customer. But communication in that same vein, if we sit down and have some regular meetings with them, I've always had a staff meeting once a week with my employees where we literally will talk about what does it mean to have a good attitude? What does it mean to smile as you're on the phone with someone? People can hear whether you have a smile on the phone. You may not think so, but in reality, people can hear whether you've got a smile. And just the act of smiling, I always suggest to people, stand up straight, put your chest out, act like you're proud, and smile. Show the world that great smile that you have, and just that act starts to build a different mental attitude in that employee, that person that you've got meeting the customer.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I think that we can really work with our staff to bring them along and get them on board with this whole way of looking at your self-image, why it's so important, and how to develop it. What about, as a business owner, what kind of results can you expect when you begin to employ this habit of working with your staff, encouraging them, leading by example, recognizing achievement?
I mean, that's a good point that you just made, recognizing achievement. You know, how many times do we miss the opportunity to say to a staff member, you did a great job with that task that I gave you, and I just wanted to make a point of letting you know I did notice, and I really appreciate that. I mean, that will go a long ways with that staff member. They remember that you've noticed it and you've pointed out to them. And so, you know, really, truly, excuse me, if you have those kinds of conversations with your staff, they will notice. They will start to change their attitudes, because you're pointing out a great attitude and a great gesture that they've made to do a good job. They want to be praised. So the more you praise them, the more they'll show that type of response to you, because they want some more of it. So they'll do things that will make you want to praise them more if you take the time to praise them in the first place.
Yeah, I think it may seem like a little thing, but especially as a small business owner, when you may not be able to be in a position to give away a trip for a successful salesperson, just the thank you goes a very long way in retaining good people for your business. I think that without it, if they're good, they're going to leave if you don't recognize their achievement and contribute to their good self-image.
Without a doubt. And in fact, one of the research things that I did for the book was Napoleon. You know, we've all certainly, in our classes in school and history classes, we've known about Napoleon. One of his statements that he used to make was that he believed...
I'm anticipating what you're saying. Is this the statement about the ribbons?
That's right.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
People will die for ribbons more than they will for money. Yeah, I think that really... Yeah, I think that people do crave, that we do crave it. And I think, as I said, in a small business, this is something that I think that workers expect, this kind of personal interaction with owners who need to really reach out and do this. We have just a couple of minutes left. Do you have some last-minute thoughts that you want to share with my listeners? Well, you know, as an example, I talked about that gratitude coin that I give out, and I've talked about that I Like Myself card that I give out. If any of your listeners would like to have some of those gratitude coins for their employees, they'd like to give their employee a gratitude coin and say, I'm giving you this coin as recognition of the great job you've done for me, and I'd like you to have this coin. I tell people this coin has magic in it. If you touch it every day, it'll remind you to be more grateful. Being more grateful makes you a happier person.